We always go through every single bag and make sure that we have everything we need, from oxygen to all of our meds to all of our needles and syringes and all that stuff.
You have to be prepared for whatever may come into your ambulance.
EMT Pierce Franklin and paramedic Dan Medford of First Capital EMS respond to some of the toughest and oftentimes life-threatening calls in York County.
The pager sound still gets to me.
North Cadaris Township, 1879, High Road, Signal 13.
But on September 17th at 2:13 in the afternoon,
York County EMS responding to the Signal 13.
5 law enforcement officers were gunned down in an ambush attack while serving an arrest warrant.
I see something pop up that says Signal 13, officer down.
At first, we didn't know a lot. It was just kind of, there's been an officer involved in a shooting.
It says something about so many shots fired that they couldn't count.
Dan and Pierce move quickly, grabbing supplies.
You hear the things on the radio and you're like, I have to get there.
A 20-minute drive in this ambulance with Pierce behind the wheel and Dan closely listening to dispatch.
It's probably the most anxious I've been going to a call since being in paramedic school.
When they hear
3 officers, Class 4. 1 officer, Class 1.
3 officers, Class 4.
Which is dead on scene.
I looked over at my partner and I was like, did we hear that right?
Daniel explains what a Class 4 dead on scene means for EMS.
It's sad, but we focus our resources on the people that have the highest chance as well.
This is their first mass casualty incident as a team.
And when you hear something so profound like that, it's like, wow, like what are we entering into?
3 Northern York County detectives, Detective Isaiah Emmenheiser, Detective Sergeant Cody Becker, and Detective Mark Baker, killed in action.
And then they had 2 officers that needed urgent transport.
Do we have 2 LVs at this time with 2 boats down?
You can hear Dan on the scanner, connecting first responders on the ground to EMS command.
Copy that. I have a flight crew on standby with no patient right now.
I felt my emotions, got very anxious going to it, but I was able to calm myself and lock it in. You just kind of have to trust your training.
Dan and Pierce then helped to move critically wounded Lieutenant David Godfrey, a 24-year veteran of the York County Sheriff's Office.
I think there were probably 10, 11 guys all moving this patient. You see something like that and you'll never forget it.
Well, that's what makes it a team effort.
This team, along with many other York County EMTs and paramedics, answered the call in what became one of the deadliest attacks on law enforcement in the nation.
There's a great chance that I came into contact with those officers. And although I did not know any of them personally, you just think about their families, you think about the good that they do in this world, and the fact that they lost their lives in such a horrific way.
For tough days like this one, Pierce and Dan say they're lucky to have each other.
Could not ask for a better partner. On that day and any other. I pick up extra hours to work with this man.
Our aircraft is mission ready, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
With a mission rooted in rapid response and care.
In the aircraft inside, does have a compartment to fly 1 patient.
Stat Medevac 13 helps to save lives in York County. Ready to lift from York Thomasville Airport within a 5-minute response time.
Not very much room, but in our world, it does give us access to the airway for the patient as well as their entire body down to their pelvis, which is the most important regions.
Flight nurse Jennifer Peterson.
I'm an adrenaline junkie. It is my calling, it is my passion. My heart's here. All right, Bill.
Spent the last 19 years flying over the Susquehanna Valley aboard Medevac 13.
I'd watch the helicopter land as a little girl. My dad and I would watch it, and I'd say when I grow up one day, I want to be in the back of a helicopter.
Your EMS command, we have Medevac 13 flying.
And that's where she was on September 17th.
That particular day, I think we were in the air less than 5 minutes to get where we needed to be.
5 law enforcement officers were shot 7 miles away from the base. 3 killed and 2 officers in desperate need to get to the hospital.
It was chaos. Unfortunately, every time we land on a highway or in a field, it is chaos. This day in particular, there was a lot more people on scene.
Within minutes, emergency teams worked to stabilize critically wounded York County Sheriff's Deputy Lieutenant David Godfrey.
Gunshot wounds are very unpredictable. You can't tell where they're hit at. Depending where they're shot at, can bleed into their belly, into their chest, into their pelvis, into their femurs.
This video shows Medevac 13 landing at Wellspan York Hospital, with Lieutenant Godfrey on board.
It was at that moment that I took a breath, because I've never experienced something like this. When we landed at York Hospital and offloaded our patient and started walking the path to the trauma center, we were surrounded on both sides with men in blue. There was police officers lining that entire path, and I felt the support myself, as well as I'm sure the patient could hear and could understand that he was being rooted on, he was being cheered for, he was being supported.
Not many realize the different groups involved in these tragic situations. Crisis communication happening in split seconds.
We all have one goal, and we all pull together. There's no longer this EMS service, this flight team, this ambulance crew. We are one particular team to take care of that one patient that needed our help.
The golden hour, the first 60 minutes after a shooting, when surgeons have the best chance to save a life.
A patient who is coming through the trauma bay as a trauma surgeon, I have to presume that they're here because they're bleeding to death.
Chief Trauma Surgeon Dr. Josh Hazelton has only had minutes to diagnose and operate.
The patient may literally be dying right here.
At the end of the table, Dr. Josh Hazelton.
WellSpan medical staff held this press conference highlighting the recovery of York County Sheriff's Deputy Lieutenant David Godfrey.
Upon arrival to the trauma bay, Lieutenant Godfrey was unstable and, as I said, bleeding to death. His injuries were life-threatening. He was awake at the time and speaking to the trauma team.
Godfrey was treated here, nearly dead, shot multiple times in the torso, abdomen, and legs. The same attack killed 3 detectives and injured another.
So that pager goes off, and the trauma patient will come down the hallway from the ambulance bay, and they will come through this room. And what they'll find when they come through this room is they will be met with a team of typically around 20 people.
There's a lot of teamwork and a lot of cross-communication.
WellSpan Emergency Department nurse Kim Godfrey and trauma surgical ICU nurse Lindsay Ritchie were both on Lieutenant Godfrey's surgical team.
You get that little heightened sense of a butterfly reaction in your stomach and your chest, but you have to stay centered.
It's an adrenaline rush with a little bit of anxiety. We consider them family, and we will do our best to make sure they get home to their families.
Both nurses are married to first responders, so treating a critically injured officer in the trauma bay struck a personal chord for them.
I've cried, I've shed tears, you feel all the feels knowing that it could have been him.
The day of the shooting, Lindsay didn't leave the hospital until after midnight. Her husband waited up to make sure she was okay. That next morning, her son asked,
"Did you help anybody, Mommy? Did you save anybody?" And he gave me a hug, and I just said I was glad I was able to help them.
Bullets tried to stop him, so did pain and doubt.
It was a tough thing to see.
Ambushed and critically wounded, Lieutenant David Godfrey refused to stay down. Every morning at WellSpan, physiotherapist Dr. Brian Wynn would help the former Marine earn each step.
A snap of the fingers.
But Dr. Wynn eases into the challenging workouts by adding an element of magic.
This was definitely one of the tricks that I showed Lieutenant Godfrey. It's something that I do for many of my patients.
And to see Dr. Nguyen every morning, he'd come in and he would come in with a card trick. And me always trying to beat somebody at the gate and figure it out, he stumped me every time.
We can help patients, show them what to do, but it's up to these patients to be willing to step through the door and participate.
The York County Sheriff's Deputy spent 16 days at WellSpan York Hospital, fighting to come back from life-threatening injuries.
I don't know how any of us, how I could deal with this kind of situation, and the fact that he was so calm and ready to work.
But it's always progressing and making that task harder.
3 hours a day, one small victory at a time, Lieutenant Godfrey endured intensive daily therapy for 2 weeks, working alongside therapists Jolene Hill and Emily Davis.
I did call out a couple people, Jolene and Emily, because I think the last 2 weeks I've caused them the most stress with my therapy, trying to push them as they're pushing me.
A simple pass is probably the easiest for a patient to do once they're able to stand on that level surface.
Jolene and Emily walk us through exercises they use with patients. Simple stuff.
It's going to make her
like improving balance,
catch the ball and bring herself back to the center,
and help with range of motion.
That endurance, that strength, the standing balance, the standing tolerance. This is almost like walking, but sitting. It's a repetitive motion.
The EMTs and officers who saved him, the trauma surgeons who stitched him back together, and the rehab team who wouldn't quit. They all rallied so the 24-year veteran could fight his way home and back to the community.
It is such a proud and humble moment to watch a patient regain their function and regain life and be able to go back out into the community.
Lieutenant Godfrey walked into this room with nothing but the brace and his own 2 feet. And I think that is a testament to the work ethic, the grit, and the strength that he showed. Today, we're getting Lieutenant Godfrey home, back to his family and back to the community that has rallied around him.
Lieutenant David Godfrey's journey isn't over. His comeback proves a simple truth. When life knocks you down, it's your move. Get up and keep rising.